Hey, it's Todd Miller here, and I wanted to give you an update to some numbers that just came out recently. As you're probably aware, they published numbers for 2009 that said aggregately across the nation, real estate prices were down 12%. And there's a lot of things that go into the numbers that I wanted to kind of go over, because when you see that, and whenever they report a number for the whole country, it's always very misleading, and this is why. First of all, depending on what region of the country you're in, that number is going to be different. So, for example, here in Las Vegas, specifically in Las Vegas, we were one of the hardest hits. We're actually the second hardest hit demographic, the second area, with 23%. So our home values were 23% less than they were the year before. You have other parts of the country like Florida got hit really hard, and Michigan got hit really hard. So those areas are skewed too, but we also have some areas where values had gone up. So anyway, the reason why I wanted to talk about that 12% is because the other reason it's misleading is it only counts actual sales. For example, it doesn't mean that a house that was worth $200,000 is now worth 12% less, so it's worth $24,000 less. What it means is that the average value of all sold homes have declined by that amount. And you say, well, isn't that what that means? If homes are selling for less, aren't they worth less? No, and this is why. So I'll give you a simple example. Okay, let's say you've got a neighborhood with 100 houses. Half of them are $100,000 houses. Half of them are $200,000 houses. And on average, half of the $200,000 houses sell and half of the $100,000 houses sell. So your average sale price is $150,000, okay? Now, let's flash to the next year. Let's say that the $200,000 houses are still worth $200,000. The $100,000 houses are still worth $100,000. They haven't changed in value. But let's say that there's foreclosures happening, and that the $200,000 houses are not getting foreclosed because those people are getting loan mods and they're reworking their loans and staying in the house. But the $100,000 houses are being foreclosed. So let's just say that none of the $200,000 houses sell in a year, but the $100,000 houses, 10 of them sell. So all of a sudden, the average sale price is now $100,000. So it's going to appear that values are down 50%. They went from 150 to 100. And the truth of the matter is that's not the case. What happened was that there happened to be more sales in the lower end than in the higher end. So, one of the things that I want to sort of point out here is that it's not just the total value of houses. It's the value of the houses that are actually sold. So what that means is that sometimes when you see prices increasing, it's not really because prices increased, it's because more people sold homes of higher value than of lower value. Now, how specifically that applies to our market? We're seeing right now more foreclosures on the low end, meaning that short sales, those type of sales, which are fewer, tend to happen on the higher end, and the low end are foreclosures. So, and the reason is because of percentages, meaning $1 million house today, a couple years ago, may only be worth $500,000 today, but that $200,000 house a couple years ago might be worth $50,000 today. So it's worth a quarter of the value, whereas the other one's only worth half of the value. So, excuse me, the buyers are like calling like crazy trying to get all this information. I need to make sure they come on here and pay attention to this and not keep calling me on my phone. But so what's happening is that because there have been more foreclosures in the low end, it appears that values have dropped. When you track individual houses, it depends. Higher end house hasn't gone down as much. A lower end house goes down more. Plus you have the imbalance of the two, and then you get this crazy number. They throw all these numbers together. What I'm saying is that 12% number, in essence, doesn't mean anything. To you individually buying a house, it doesn't mean anything. What you have to look at is what's going on in that market, what's going on in that price range, what's going on in that neighborhood. Because of this, you will find hidden deals, you will find value, and so be careful when you see the aggregate numbers. That's really all I wanted to talk about as far as the numbers for 2009, because when I saw the 12%, I cringed. I said, "Oh my gosh," you know. And there's a lot of other things at play. Certain foreclosures weren't happening at the end of the year, and a bunch of other stuff. So anyway, that's my update for today. Today's is the 18th of February. You know, if you ever have questions, you can just direct respond right in here, and I usually get back pretty quick. But just go right in there and put a comment on the video, and that's it. That's the update for the day. Thanks a lot.